Things fall apart.
Things
I am
fall
Frank
apart.
5D, the writer, photographer, all that fly shit people adore. Workload.
You already know workload, man. Counselor Polly Rob, local astronauts. That's all that need to be said.
We're joined by our first special guest on the show, Lex Lou. Can't
What's
thank you
going on,
enough.
What's going on, everybody?
Tell the people who you are and what you do.
I'm Lex Lou out of Akron, Ohio. I'm an A&R. I'm a producer. I do management. I do a lot of different things in the music business, and I also do a lot of different things as far as just in the entertainment world, period. So just one of those creative dudes that just always stay busy trying to do something.
Welcome, sir. Glad to have you on, most definitely.
Shout out to Akron, Ohio, man. Shout out to Akron, Ohio. You know what I mean?
Akron, Ohio, man. We had a conversation earlier, man. Akron, Ohio, something else.
Yes, it is.
It sounds like one of those places. Birthplace of LeBron James, correct?
Yes, sir.
How much love does he get out there?
It's endless. Like right now, you got the Acrodelphia 76ers. So wherever LeBron go, the city go with him. You know what I mean? So
y'all came to LA too.
Like, they've been out there. We've been out there.
I'm that type of fan too. I'm a LeBron fan, so I'm that type of fan. It don't matter where you go, man. He can get signed to the Raiders, man. I'm over there. You know what I mean? Like,
Didn't he used to play football? Didn't he used to play football?
Yeah, he played football in high school.
Yeah,
he was a tight end. He was a tight end and wide receiver.
Dope. Let's talk a little bit more about Akron later. Can't Freeze, Lex. Can't Freeze, featuring Glock Key, OTW Savvy, and CFN Looney Goon. It's a vibe. Man, good work, sir.
Appreciate it. That's one of them records. I have brought Rob down to Ohio back early this year, and we got to working on a new project. And it was one of the records that I actually Glock Key is my son.
Oh,
and
snap.
And I'm like, okay, we've been developing him for a couple years now, and it's like, okay, I got Rob in town. You come sit in. He sat in with us for about 3-4 days, and then soaked up what was going on. Then I'm like, okay, y'all ready now? I said, call your homies. Let's get in here. And he called his homies. He called his homies over there, and we just got to cooking up. And that was one of the records that we came up with.
The YN movement.
YN movement, crazy.
You know, it's funny because you know, coming down it. First off, Akron is one of my like second homes for real, because I like the energy of coming out there and creating. You know what I'm saying? Like Lou knows, when I go out there, it's like, yo, who want to work? You know what I'm saying? I want to work with some different artists. I want to, go see different things. You know what I mean? And I got to get my Bob's Burgers. I missed it the last trip, man. So I got to come.
That show you how much we was working, though.
Yo, we was going crazy. We was going in. But in the days that we were working, it was all different types of sounds of music. Like I put together a selection of different beats and like all flavors, because I just didn't know what type of artists we was going to work with. I knew some of them, of course, but R&B artists, you know what I'm saying? YN, somebody with drill, up-tempo, soul music, you don't know. So when they came in, when the YNs came in, they like, yo, as soon as they heard what they like, let's go, let's get it. You know what I'm saying? And
man, let's kind of eliminate this stigma. I'm so sick of YN, and what the first thing that comes to my mind is YBs, young bros. We can't say YB because that just makes everybody think, young boy. But young bros. What we ain't got to say YNs. They ain't all got to be YNs. But shout out to that, most definitely, Lex.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I don't look at it as something bad for me, for this one reason. When we were in our eras, you know what I'm saying? When we were young, we was just niggas. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We had our time where we were doing things or looking out for things that was in our generation. I still identify with the YNs from this standpoint. When we go outside, we still got to watch out for the same shit. When we go outside, we got to watch out for somebody trying to rob us. When we go outside, we got to watch out for somebody trying to take what's ours. When we walk outside, we got to police. It's the same thing. So we're older now, so we know how to maneuver a lot better. but still, I identify with what they own. Do I identify with all the type of music? No. My kids identify with a piece of it, but still, I understand the language. I'm never going to be the unk or older head or whatever. I'm never going to be the one who's trying to downplay them because we don't see it from their perspective, because we got done like that. Remember, hip hop always does that. Every time hip hop grows up, we want to shun the newest generation. We can't do that no more. Now, if we don't identify with the terms, that's cool, but at least identify with these young cats doing what they do.
My first rap album that I actually purchased was Niggas for Life, NWA.
Wow.
And I wasn't allowed to listen to it, so I had to put it in my Walkman. My mom wouldn't let me listen to it because of the message. You know what I mean? Right. But I'm like, this is the closest thing to what I'm seeing in real life every day. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of why I can relate to what's going on. You know what I mean? With being in Akron, man, it's no matter what, you're always in the trenches. You know what I mean? Even as you elevate, and you got to really like get out of the city. You can't live in the city and not be in the trenches some way, somehow. You know what I mean?
Sounds familiar.
And like, so I relate to it. You know what I mean? I remember when I was a YN. I tell everybody I was the Marine Corps' first YN because I gave them people hell when I first came off the streets. You know what I mean?
Wow. Being a YN and actually having actual killer training? Oh, that's different.
Man. So when I got out, I was so militant and everything. I didn't care what your rank was, whatever. If I ain't like it, I ain't like it. And I was telling them all the time, you got like fucked up. I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? And that was just my attitude. I said it so much. I got a plaque upstairs from the Marine Corps, and they put that on my plaque. Y'all got like fucked up because I said it so much to them. You know what I mean? So that's why I tell everybody I was the Marine Corps' first YN back in 1994. You know what I mean? When I went in. So I can relate to it. It's just a militant attitude where I know who I am. You know what I mean? And you're not going to tell me I'm not. You know what I mean? No matter how you try to break me down, this, that, and the third, I know who I am. You know what I mean? That's what these young boys got.
Right. And not to cut you off, but also for me, I'm like, because we understand where they're coming from when we really think about it, like, learn how to use it. Learn how to use the fact that we came from the same type of lifestyle, you know what I'm saying? Or probably worse. I mean, really, to be honest with you, probably worse. Learn how to use it to communicate with them and understand what they're going through and possibly help them out. That's why I say I can identify with them and I use it. And even with this record, Can't Freeze, like, you know, first off, the record is developing its own legs, which I love. And then for me, it's like just music-wise, you know, let's find a common ground. You know, us being in the studio out there in Akron and then finding something that they like. They didn't just pick the first beat that came up. You know what I mean? I'm more so considered as a gritty hip-hop East Coast style producer as the surface level of what I do. But I produce so much other stuff. Local Astronauts produce so much stuff. So they didn't pick the first beat, but when we got around to the synergy of what they were trying to do and what we was trying to do, it came together, and it came together like a marriage. You know what I mean? So I like to use the information of me trying to connect with them and use that for the music and for other things. You know what I mean?
As you should. And God, we already too far into the weeds with that. We have a whole episode planned on that exact topic. Right now we're talking about clans, posses, crews, and beefs. See what I did there? Starting out, West Side Connection. The Los Angeles supergroup was impactful, so influential, so important to the West Coast from the mid 90s to the mid 2000s. You know, just jumping off the East Coast, West Coast travesty of a fiasco of a should we say. They first came together on West Side Slaughterhouse on Mac 10's first album, and you know, then they had a joint on Dub C's album, I believe. But then that
was West Up. That was West Up off Mad Circle Curve Serving. I was just listening to that on my walk.
I don't know how that escaped me because that's my favorite song by them. Most definitely, that's my favorite record by West Side Connection. They was on the freeway in the video. The freeway was shut down, and they just got the cookout or the party going. And then they released Bow Down, their debut album, which went platinum in the very same year. It was released like in September, October or something. And it went platinum same year. Yep. Everybody wanted to be a part of it. And then it took them 7 years to release their follow-up. They made tracks in between. But then just right after that, Blood left the group, you know? And Mac 10 has everybody worked up is what we're getting to. You know, he took the stage and had some positive comments to say about his former group mates. Both of y'all, what are the odds that we see a West Side Connection reunion in the next 4 to 5 years?
Man,
I would say, I think it's coming just from the energy that I've seen from Q recently, and just the way the culture has been lately. When that type of energy has been presenting itself, it's just been happening. So I think that's gonna happen, and it'll be the perfect time because that sound right there is undeniable. You know what I mean? Ain't no way you can't put them back in the studio with that sound and make some fire right now. So I think it's inevitable for it to happen.
It's happening. It's happening for sure. And I'll be the first one to say it might get spooky again for a couple of people if West Side Connection come back together. Let me explain. You got to remember, West Side Connection wasn't just a group that, you know, with 3 artists. There were 3 artists from different sets of neighborhoods, different identities of how they approach their music.
Let me interject. Yes, the connection part of West Side Connection. Yes, and 2 of these people were luminaries already. Dub C from the Low Profile days, like the brother of fucking Crazy Tunes. Come on, and then Ice Cube, the Niggas for Life. Come on. I wanted to say, Lex, Niggas for Life is going to come up in Record of the Days one of these days. Continue.
For sure. No, 100%. Then when you combine 3 artists that are that great and you give them a mission, it gets spooky. Because back then, this is the time where the East Coast was going crazy. It was all type of dope records coming out. It was the Wu-Tangs. It was the Nas's. It was, you know, the Biggie. It was so much going on, and they was winning. Let's just be honest. East Coast was winning. So West Side Connection was like, okay, we're forming together because we got to start bringing some of this stuff back to the West. And that was so scary because lyrically they're talented. They all could make songs, and they all had elements that could combat somebody that was pretty much on the East Coast. You know what I mean? Now let's bring it to now. They haven't worked together in years, right? If they come back together, this is another run of, you got somebody, Mac 10, who's grown as a businessman, who's still elite as far as lyricism. You got Dub C that has now been even more cemented, not just from Dub C in the Mad Circle, but also from his solo music, working with Dr. Dre, working with Corrupt, working with so many other people. Then you got Ice Cube, who's even more of a mogul. He's doing the big 3. If they come back together, it's going to be crazy because it's now, even after Kendrick Lamar and a pop-up, it is now another idea or another proof in the pudding that the West Coast can come together and really form some magical shit. Imagine it. Imagine the West Side Connection now having records with Snoop, Jay Worthy, Corrupt again.
The Game. Remember, they were supposed to bring it back with the Game instead of Mac 10.
Now they can do all of this type of stuff. That's another resurgence. You know what I mean? Ice Cube, of course, he did an album with E40 and Too Short. Yeah, it was okay. If you do it with your homies, though, you do it with Dub C and Mac 10, it's gonna be different because they're gonna keep you sharp. They're gonna keep Ice Cube sharp. They're gonna make sure, hey, that line not cutting it. Let's do it like this. You get what I'm saying? That's what we need. And at the end of the day, Ice Cube is going to always be remembered in our eyes as the one who set all this shit off. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like it's a great approach. And the reason why I said it's going to get spooky for a lot of other people is because when you're dealing with a group that legendary, the tours, the merchandise, all of those things is coming back. And now they own their own, they can own their own Westside Connection name, the brand. Come on, man. It's going to be crazy. The tour that'll come. Imagine this. Imagine the Westside Connection has a 2 or 3 day concert of the anniversary of Bow Down.
They could make their own How the West Was Won. They can make their own.
Dodger Stadium, Staples Center, the Forum. You think niggas not going to that?
Right.
The Crypto.com arena, man. Come on.
So when they was making those projects, did they have a core producer there?
You know what? I know.
It was a certain sound that came with that whole project, and I don't see you just getting that from different producers.
Well, the thing about it is, I think Cube always has been a part of the executive producing of the project, so he has his hands in that. I don't know who exactly. Can you pull up who produced a lot of the records on Bow Down? The one thing I can say is Mac 10 and Ice Cube are very good at selecting the right beats. So a lot of the projects that they have are really not producer centric. It's really about them selecting the actual record. So I have ultimate confidence that they'll be able to select the right beats for what they got going. You know what I'm saying?
I'm showing the main producers as Fred Wreck. Shout out Fred Wreck. And
Fred Wreck, for sure.
And rest in peace, Nate Dogg. I'm showing them as those two as the main 2 producers for Westside.
Yeah.
You gotta have that sound if they're coming back. You gotta have that sound.
I don't. We have more singers and dope crooners now than we had when they came out before. I mean, the ones who got real traction. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I would love, and this might sound crazy, but I would love for some of these younger West Coast singers to like if you get what's his name? If you get Charlie B. Real or Jane Hancock and the West Side, come on, man.
Don Toliver.
Don Toliver, come on. Dude,
Don Toliver, dope.
I get a Ty Dolla Sign. It's an alley-oop. It's easy.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is they can have more firepower because of the collection of them coming together from the West Coast than anybody. Like, respectfully speaking, Kendrick does things on his own with his TDE buddies, right? That happens. Snoop is starting to come out a lot more as far as putting young, rappers on, young producers on. He's opening up that energy for it. The West Side Connection, if they have a press release and they get on stage and they say, hey, we coming back for another album.
Cheat code applied.
The entire West Coast will open up their doors to submit whatever they need for the album. They'll have endless amounts of, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
I think that's beautiful. I think that's, and to be honest, last thing I'll say, I think every legendary group that still has the ability to make music and perform, they should do that too. We got the Clips, phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? Wu-Tang did their anniversary tour. We loved it. Nas pop out for a little bit. We loved it. Jay-Z
was on there with him.
Come on, man. They're now understanding that we love our legends. We're supporting our legends. And our legends are staying fresh. They staying healthy. They keeping their bars up and they doing their fucking thing. It's a beautiful marriage right now.
It seems like Mac 10 might be the only one trying to push this issue. Just in 2003, Ice Cube was on. He said when he dismissed the possibility of a reunion at all. The quote is, he described him and Mac 10's conflict as a violation that can't be overlooked. But then just last year, he was on Bootleg Kev, and Bootleg Kev asked him if there was any chance for you and Mac 10 to get back together, he just simply said, I don't know. And he moved right on. He just said, I don't know. So, you know, and it kind of sucks because a lot of times, like, something tells me there's nothing really that serious between those two. A lot of times,
if what I heard. No, I'm sorry. Sorry to cut you off. If it's true of what I heard, the beef turned into from where it started from. If it's true, they'll be back together because it's some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I will not say because I'm not an exposer. That's not my style. But if what is true from what I heard, it is something to be talked about, swept back under the rug, and get right back to the business for sure. You know what I'm saying? And most of our groups go through things like that. Not saying that it doesn't hurt them or it's not real to them, but when you look at, and I'm just talking about the macro sense of it all. When you think about the legacy and what you can potentially give to the people and what the people can give to you before the group is officially done. I'm talking about officially done. Can't nobody walk no more. Can't nobody get on stage. People can't talk no more. The health is bad. Do as much as you can until you get to that point. We just seen Bone Thugs and Harmony get the Hollywood Walk of Fame. They haven't stopped working this whole time. Whether you knew their albums was coming out or not, whether you went to their tours or not, they have not stopped working. To
add to that, we almost just lost Corrupt.
Facts.
Like, you know,
Facts.
And same thing. He has been nonstop at work since you know we heard of his health issues.
Yeah.
And he looked like all the way refocused. That new album sound fire.
Does most of him and Battle Cat are going? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
yes, sir.
To add on, also, you know, a lot of times it be crew members or you know ancillary entourages, people in the fray that keep these beefs going. When Cube and Mac 10 know they both can get in the studio tomorrow. So yes.
And if they think about this. If they just sat down and thought about all of the possibilities to make millions of dollars by them returning, it's enticing to all three of them, especially Mac 10. It's super enticing. You know what I mean? So
that's why he's
all I'm saying is, brothers, man, Mac 10, Dub C, Ice Cube, come on back home. The West Coast needs you. West Coast needs you.
And the word is going around is that Mac 10 owns the trademark and you know the name of West Side Connection, and that's one of the main reasons why
even better
get better. So it would be better for him, of course. But you know how Cube goes. He needs ownership and everything.
Everything, right?
I mean, yeah, right. I'm pretty sure if it was me, I would just break it into thirds and everybody get paper. You know what I'm saying? Because still the money that you put out and the effort and the sweat equity that you put out, you know what I'm saying? It's what it is. We know you go get your money back. That's one thing that's gonna happen. You break it into thirds, all y'all finna eat. And at the end of the day, you know what I mean? I would love to see, and I'm not saying anything bad about Dub C. I'm not saying anything bad about him, but I would love to see Dub C step into some level of an ownership role if he hasn't already, or even if he has, even more with the brand. You feel what I'm saying? Because, you know, people always think that Dub C is just along for the ride, but he is a very, very, very focal point in that group and why it even comes together. You know what I mean? You take out Dub C, you don't get the same energy. And to be honest with you, he probably had all the dopest verses. He had all the dopest verses on the West Side Connection.
I'm going to disagree, but I won't fight you.
Give it up.
Hey, he was spitting fire on there. He was spitting fire on there, and then it's gonna be people that just come to them shows just to see him skip across that stage.
That's it.
You feel me? Yes, sir. You know that's Trey. That's him. You know what I mean? People coming just for that.
You give him a whole 10 minutes just to walk. That's it. Skip. Like that's what I mean. Like this would be and I'll say this last thing. This would be the perfect example to show how the West Coast artists should be working together. Should you decide to put together a group? Because we could go on for days about possible groups that we could see from the West Coast, and even longer if we're talking about the East Coast and the Midwest, the South. You know what I mean? Oh my goodness, the groups that can be formed.
They did the right thing with that super group, especially at the right time. Is lightning in a bottle. Clans, Posse, Screws, and Beefs. Let's keep rolling. How long are Daz and Snoop right in the same wheelhouse? How long are they going to keep this up? Lou, what say you?
Hopefully not too long, because that's my favorite damn group. You know what I mean? And it's breaking my heart every day to see what goes on. You know what I mean? Like real life talk. Anybody that really know me, DPG, that's me. You know what I mean? Dad's my favorite producer. Them albums, that was my soundtrack, my high school years. You know, moving through the Marine Corps and everything. I was listening to them DPG albums. You know what I mean? Even then, when Dad started doing his solo albums and everything, back in the Tupac albums, I knew Dad was doing that production.
Question. There was only one DPG album, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there was
but like you said,
but they had so much, you know, on the soundtrack. Soundtracks was big then, and they was on every soundtrack and everything. So they had a lot of work outside of just that one project. You know what I mean? And then just the stuff that they did on Dre's album. You know what I mean? And just that DPG soundtrack was it for me. So that's my favorite group.
Yeah. No, I listen. I agree. I'll start off by saying this: when it's all said and done, Daz will get his just deserve in terms of earnings, and he'll get his just deserve in terms of how important he was to West Coast culture, to actual production in hip hop, and everything after that. He will obtain that. But I will say that Snoop and Daz, they got to find a way to figure that out, because there's two sides to it. There's one side where Snoop acquired the ability through all the things that Snoop has been through. He's finally acquired the ability to not only get his masters, but to get the entire label. That is an obligation to the business of Death Row to bring that back. That's what he put on himself, to bring back the same label that brought you to success or financially did you fucking dirty. That's number one. Number two, he's continuing all of the contracts that have been signed and agreed upon by everybody that was a part of Death Row in that time frame.
He took those upon himself. Yes.
Right. You don't just acquire the music, you acquire the agreements. And for however, I think it was like 300 something mil or whatever, you have to find a way to start generating and make that money back. You got to. So the problem is, you got your cousin on one hand that you know is very intricate in how Death Row was built as a production powerhouse. And then the other side is, my same cousin agreed to the same shit that I agreed to. And now I have the company, and I have to figure out what I'm going to do. I'm going to null and void the contract and give you everything back. What are you going to give me from the project?
That's important. You know, just like Snoop has taken on those obligations, Daz has obligations also.
His obligations as well. So
where do those meet? How do you know?
And where do you put the family card in to wipe away the things that you have on the business side? That's the problem. They both cousins, so it's like, man, all of this back and forth for them dissing each other and calling each other a-holes or whatever, that don't do nothing for the progression of West Coast and them individually. But at the same time, it is business. So I'll say this, just the same way like Daz is like, hey, I'm going to start selling the Chronic albums, right? And he making money doing that. I'm going to start selling the Chronic albums out the trunk. And if y'all want me to stop, they got to come sue me. The caveat to that is, if they come out and sue and try to sue him to stop doing that, now they've opened up Pandora's box for him to go and look at the books and officially start figuring out what's his and what's not. So that's why. So Dad's playing. He doing what he doing. He doing what he's supposed to do.
Well, I don't think he's playing. It seemed like they both just trying to call each other bluff at this point. Like it seems like, I don't know, two walls hitting each other, or I forget the euphemism of it.
Eventually, it's going to come to a point where they have to actually sit down and figure it out, and it'll probably be something to the magnitude of like Snoop having to say, "Hey, Daz, I'm going to give you this from this album. I'm going to give you this from this album. I'm going to keep this from this album." It's going to end up being,
I might need that trademark to that logo.
Exactly. It's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? It just sucks that when you're young and dumb, and you're trying to get out, you're going to take these contracts. You're going to do things that you regret later. The best part about it is that these guys are both alive to regret it later, so they can figure this shit out. Figure it out, man. You know what I'm saying? Like real shit. Like Snoop, be the big cousin, and call for a Rolls Royce for Daz to get in and bring him to the complex and clear that shit out, and y'all sit down and figure it out.
And then let's get back to this beautiful shit that we know y'all for.
Right, because the one thing Daz not gonna do, Daz is not gonna not give Snoop records. Right. He's not gonna not continue to produce and make this fire shit he be making. So it's like, dude, figure it out and make it happen, because we need y'all, especially both of them, because they're the caveats to get shit moving. Daz on the production side, Snoop on just being a goddamn star.
He got 7 different studios in that compound that he could devote to Daz. Just do you? Yeah.
That compound. Yeah, that compound with 30 artists without Daz is totally different from that compound with 30 artists with Daz in the middle. Records gonna get done.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee that. Fire. Let Daz do it all over again. Give him a big ass bag, settle y'all differences with the masters, and let him go nuts. He probably got 12 to 13 albums full of beats already for him.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with it all, yo. Like just like you said, Lex. Daz is one of my favorite producers from the West, for damn sure. Along with Battle Cat, who's doing his thing with, we just mentioned, Corrupt. If we want to flip the script, Madlib, I love Madlib. Rick Rock, West Coast producers we're talking about. But yeah, my favorite Dog Pound record is "I Don't Like to Dream About Getting Paid."
Ooh, I don't like to dream about getting paid.
My favorite solo Daz record is "My System." My system bumping down the street. My system bumping with bass. Boom, 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 boom.
Lou, what's yours?
Man, I got to go back all the way to Retaliation, Revenge, and Get Back. The title track, you know what I mean? Retaliation, Revenge, and Get Back.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Fire.
That's my favorite one. And then he did that album with Jermaine Dupri. And he had one with Rick Ross called "On Some Real Shit" that was fire.
Yeah, forgot all about that. What you got, right?
It's something about being a Dog Pound gangster, nigga. When I died, that first record on Dog Food, I went nuts, bro. When I heard that, I went absolutely. I rewind. The rewind era. Y'all remember that? I rewind that song probably about 20 to 30 times. It's one of the rare moments when I rewind something so much I don't get a chance to listen to the rest. I didn't get a chance to listen to the rest of the album. I probably listened to it once, and I kept rewinding that song so much that I popped the tape. I ended up listening to the rest of the album probably like 3 weeks later. That first record was so crazy, and Daz was going nuts on that mug. Like, and I would say my favorite Daz record. I don't know. But it is on the Retaliation, Revenge, and Get Back album. That's for sure. That was
his best album.
Yeah. When I go on my midday walk, I think I'm gonna go ahead and play that album when I'm on my midday walk tomorrow.
Hey, if I put that album on right now and I'm in my car, I'm gonna look down and I'm gonna probably be doing 100. You know what I mean? Because that's the energy of that. You know what I mean? And In between records, you hear tires screeching and the police sirens and police chases. It was just the energy of that record, that album, man. Ooh, that was it for me. That was
love
it for
the
me
energy,
for sure. Yes, sir.
Definitely love the energy.
I think it probably was the record with Tupac and Daz on the album. I think that was one of my favorite records.
With Method Man, the one with Method.
No. On the Retaliation, Revenge, and Get Back. It was.
Okay. All right. I'm thinking of All Eyes on Me.
All Eyes on Me.
Yeah, the one with Method Man. Okay.
And you know, it's crazy. Daz produced a lot of records that I didn't realize he produced. Like, Daz is one of my favorite producers. Like the other way, like figuring out the records that he produced. You know what I mean? Which is a big thing for me in my producer journey, because it made me realize, you know, of course we always try to chase the main producers, the RZAs, the Dr. Dre's, the Pharrells, you know what I mean? The No IDs, the ones who are prominent in producing records. You see their names all the time. What I didn't realize was some of my favorite records that are dear to me, like truly dear to me, was done by Daz. So then for me, it's like production wise, it's like I kind of wanted to make myself into an album producer, the one who can make the album, and not necessarily it's about the single, it's about the album for me. I mean, even if you listen to a lot of things that Local Astronauts does, you know what I'm saying, and the things
that makes a lot of sense, Rob. That makes a lot of sense. Continue.
We make EPs, we make albums. Like we just, you know, put out the TF Maniac Blue, Legend of Maniac Blue. You know what I'm saying, from the Scan of Summer series. You know what I mean? We executive produced that. You know what I mean? But the energy of it is how to complete and make something complete and concise, as opposed to trying to have this number one single. You know what I mean? Like, I want to tell the story. You know what I mean? So shout out to Daz, man.
And let's hope that they do, like y'all said, get that finished up really quick. Intermission time.
Mm-hmm.
In honor of, you know, record of the day is what we're doing, intermission.
Yes, sir. Record of the day.
We usually choose between 1 through 10, and I pick one from that number. But in honor of the first half of this conversation, the record of the day is Murder Was the Case.
Ooh.
Featuring a lot of these people that we just talked about, in beloved memory of Calvin Brodus. God, so glad he didn't die, did he? What was up with these 90s rappers fucking predicting their own death around the corner and stuff?
Because the murder rate was so high in the hood, you can walk out any second. It was going down.
All right.
It was crazy.
What else is crazy? This album cost $9.99. Back when
Classic. It was racking up too.
I do believe that my brother traded this for something else that, you know, we had in the collection at the time. God, Natural Born Killers, Dre and Ice Cube. What Would You Do by the Dog Pound. Come When I Call by Danny Boy. You Think You Better Recognize. Sam Snead featuring Dr. Dre. Isn't that crazy? Right. 21 Jump Street. One More Day. One More Day. Harvest for the World. Jewel remaking the Isley Brothers record. Who got gangsta shit. Rest in peace, our guy, Big Y, East Side nigga, West Side.
Oh man, one of the classics.
Dollars and Cents originally debuted on this soundtrack. This was a soundtrack. It's like you just said, Luke, we don't get those no more. This was a soundtrack to the movie that was Murder Was the Case. This original vinyl had a red vinyl and a green vinyl. This was before the whole, you know, before the trend of that being collector's items. This is a first edition printed in 1994. We're old. What else is funny is distributed by Atlantic Records Corporation through, of course, Interscope and Death Row.
Right.
75 Rockefeller Plaza. This album. You know, the whole thing was going on at the time. Production by Daz, we just talked about. Quick, Devontae Swang, Sam Snead, and of course, rest in peace, Big Y.
Rest in peace.
What a fucking record that.
That's the first time I didn't know he was on there.
Yeah, man, that East Side West Side is a hood staple. Like when they go perform, that when you hear that record, you go crazy.
Well,
You
we
go
lost
crazy.
Y. Is Lil Stretch still here? Lil Doubt.
It's still here. Yeah, Dog is still here. Stretch is still here. I mean, they probably won't perform that record unless they probably had like a function for themselves or whatnot. But that record used to go crazy. I think the last time they performed that record was at the Relatives anniversary for Dirty Money.
Wow.
That was the last time I think they performed that. But you know, that whole soundtrack, first off, just to bring it full circle, soundtracks were always a couple of things. It was the introduction to artists that you may not have heard before. It was also the driving force of how to combine, you know, different records from different parts of the world. Like even Murder Was the Case soundtrack. You know, we got the Above the Rim soundtrack. We got the New Jersey Drive soundtrack. Yeah, where West Coast artists and East Coast artists can live in one project, and it was some fire on all of them. It was always fire on them. That Murder Was the Case one was
Sunset Park soundtrack.
Come on. I talked to Fredro about that, and I was just listening to all the stories he was telling, because you know Fredro, another producer that people didn't realize, he produced most of a lot of the Onyx records. If it wasn't him actually on the boards, it was him, you know, producing, like, hey, put this where that is, put this hook over there. Like, he's very, very lethal at that. But I'm saying that these soundtracks got us into the artists that we eventually would love and cherish in their careers,
as well as selling the movies that we love.
Right. Yeah, because that Menace to Society soundtrack. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Come on. But
everybody did their thing on that project, on that
right. And
everybody.
And these songs and these artists was a reflection of the things that we were about to witness. When What Would You Do came out, that was when we got a real taste of, you know, Dog Pound by themselves. And that record was that's one of my favorite records of all time. You know what I'm saying? Then we get, like you said, Sam Snead, You Better Recognize. We get that. Even the title track, Murder Was the Case. Like, before that song, let's be honest, before that record, we didn't realize that Snoop could really get like that deep. Like, he was on some shit right there. He was towing the line between the darkest part of how we live.
He sold his soul to the devil on the record.
Right. Before that, we're enjoying everything about Snoop. But when it got dark for him in his life, it got dark for us in his music. And I think that was, first off, thank you, Snoop, for even doing that. He didn't have to do it. He could have fell back, beat the case, did the case stuff, and just went back to the fun shit when it was time. He walked us through his entire journey, and we felt that. You know what I mean? So those soundtracks was just something else, man. And man, still to this day, you know, I love the combination between, you know, artists and A&Rs, producers and A&Rs doing compilations and soundtracks. Hence Lou. Lou has always been somebody who really comes together and puts together records with different artists from the East Coast and the West Coast. He has his imprint, Akron to LA, and I want Lou to talk about what inspired him to really put these artists together and why it's important to continue it now. You know what I mean?
So, like I always, you know, I started off with me being a big Dog Pound fan and just being a big fan of West Coast music, period. So I always wanted to have some type of, when I was started doing projects, I wanted to have some type of avenue for the artists that I was working with out there in LA, out there in California. You know what I mean? And through me doing stuff previously, I had built a few relationships with Rob, you know what I mean, with a few people up in the Bay like Black C from RBO Posse, when I was doing management and stuff like that. So when I was managing artists, I was still building relationships. And
Shout
then
out RBL. Sorry to cut you off. Shout out RBL.
Legendary sure. Black C. So once I started not managing anymore, I started having to figure out a new way to still stay in the game and keep making records. And I started saying, okay, well, I'm gonna start taking artists that wouldn't normally work together and start trying to come up with a different sound. You know, if you put the same crew together all the time, you're trying to kind of get this. But if you take somebody from California and somebody from LA, I mean from Ohio, and put them together, once for one, they're gonna be battling each other, trying to kill each other on the
Right.
track, and for two, you know what I mean, you're just gonna get a sound that you wouldn't normally get. So
That's what I
from
like about it, Lou. So let me interject. I love how, if you take those contrasting artists, they will not just try and outshine each other, but they will also try and assimilate each other's sound.
yes, sir.
One will try and sound like the other, one will try and sound like the other, and they will try and make it a cohesive record. Continue.
Mm-hmm. So once I started doing that, my goal was okay to build a bridge from Akron to LA. And through that process, I started realizing if I didn't have a name for myself, then that process was going to be a lot harder. So I said, building the whole priceless music thing, I started going out and doing records with people that I was really big fans of, and I already had traction. I'm like, I'm gonna go get this artist out here that's popping. He really got traction out this way, and I'm gonna do something with one of my guys back home that's really popping, and start making those records. And from that, we kind of built the Connected series, and I got Connected Volume 1 and Volume 2, and that kind of like cemented to people what I was trying to do now. Okay, he really out here putting these records together. They call me the Akron Khaled around here. You know what I mean? Because I do what Khaled do. You know what I mean? But I actually do some production on some of my projects as well. You know what I mean? I do have a core production, which is Local Astronauts. I ain't doing no project without them. You know what I mean? He actually got me started in production. You know what I mean? And from that, now on this project, I said, you know what? I did a lot of building. I kind of need to build it, bring it back home now. You know what I mean? And really push back home again. And with some of the avenues I got, I felt like it was time to do that. And who knew my son was going to be a part of the whole project and everything too.
Fire.
You know what I mean?
Good stuff.
And, we be bumping heads because we talked about it earlier. I had the whole unique part of fighting the fatherhood part versus the record exec part. You know what I mean? Record exec, I love the records. As a father, sometimes you don't want to hear what these YNs gonna say. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then me doing a lot of stuff that I do in corporate America. He like, Dad, you ain't pushed that record that I just put. I said, man, I can't put that out there. You know what I mean? They gonna look at me like, that's what your son's talking about. But after a while, I'm like, you know what? If I build it a certain way, then it'll be more acceptable. You know what I mean? And everybody can see what I'm trying to do. So for it's probably about 2-3 years now. I ain't gonna say I shelved him, but I just kept giving him the tough love. He wanted, Dad, you doing this, you doing that. Let me be a part of that now. I'm like, you ain't ready yet. You gotta still develop this. You still gotta develop that. And I just wanted him to develop more as an artist instead of coming in and thinking just because Dad is doing this or that he's gonna automatically get to the front of the line. No, you gotta build it yourself. You know what I mean? And then as you build that, we're gonna cater it. We're gonna figure it all out and make it work together. You know what I mean? So this was one of the first records that on my projects that he's on.
Wow. I'm trying to say I've never thought about that side of the equation. In entertainment, nepotism is always, an outlying conversation. But I've never thought of that fine line that you have to walk. Like, Rob, do you think you're gonna run into that?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. But I think the best thing that Lou said is giving them the tough love, because you have to prepare them for what they're about to go through. You know what I'm saying? This entertainment business, this being a creator on all levels is very, very, it's a difficult path. You know what I'm saying? Because you're choosing to not take the traditional route of doing anything. You're choosing to develop yourself, develop your business, develop your energies in a certain context that you have to fight from behind a lot. My oldest son, he just dropped the clothing line called Subject 77. He built his website, he designed his clothes, he did the marketing, he did everything. And all I did was just give him the go sign. Hey, go for it and show me something. I'll put the money into it when you show me that you're serious. And he built the whole thing and dropped it. And I just All I had to do was become a customer and buy the damn sweatsuit. I was a customer. That lets me know that he's ready for what's coming. He ready for it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Usually, most kids, you got to walk them all the way down. I don't have to do none of that. He was just as focused as he wanted to be to push out what he wanted to push out. So yeah, if there's possibilities for nepotism that I'm going to explore with him and my youngest, Zai, for sure, definitely. But I still have to make sure that he's ready. He got to be ready for it, and at least willing to go through the fire to get himself prepared. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But yeah. So salute to the kids, man, because they out here trying. They out here trying to do their thing. You know what I mean?
And congratulations to both of y'all. You know, I've got years before I'm gonna have to deal with anything like that. You know, my he's still really young. Go ahead, Lou. What were you saying, Lex?
I knew he was ready when he delivered me his album, and it was enough records for me to. He got hundreds of records, and he was down here all the time working. But when he came and said, "Dad, I think I'm ready to really put a project out," I said, "All right, give me 16 to 20 songs." And usually it's a bunch of drill music. Right. The first record he gave me was a friend of mine off of his first project that I put out, and it was talking about, even though the relationship between him and his girl didn't work out, she gonna always be a friend of his. And I said, okay, now this is what I can get behind this kind of stuff right here. And it's just the fact that the fact that you even thought about that, you know what I mean? And that's a message that needs to be pushed with these young ones, because they think, hey, once we fall out, it's crash out. You know, bang, 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 you know. So I love the message. And that grabbed my attention immediately. And as I start listening to a lot more of them records, I'm like, as much as I thought he wasn't paying attention, he was. And okay, he's paying
attention. That's a real thing, Lou. That's a real thing. They watch, like, they don't have to have a conversation with you to tell you, hey, Dad, I listen. They're never going to do that. They're just going to listen and follow in the footsteps. That's why I always say it's very important. Men and women, mothers and fathers. It's important for y'all to have dreams and chase them. I don't care if it's just having a book club. It's important because your kids are watching you. If you're going around and yes, I'm the father figure, I'm the mother figure, I'm the parents, yeah, for sure. So that means the most responsible person in their life ain't got no dreams, ain't got no aspirations. Right. Like, you got to really pay attention, and because they're watching you every step of the way, from how you eat a sandwich to how you do business. You know what I'm saying? And I got a rude awakening, because there was certain things I was being lazy on, you know, jumping against the time, you know, and not fulfilling. And I had to have a conversation with both of my sons about being on time, being thorough, taking care of your business, covering your ass. Like, I had to talk. As I'm talking to him, I'm like, man, I gotta kick in the gear, because I'm telling them some bullshit right now, because I'm not the same standard. For real. So I had to kick in the gear, and then when they see you, when they watch you, like, almost every chance I get, I'm sending them a snapshot of me editing a movie or doing a film score. I sent them a snapshot of a new record that we just dropped. I sent them the link to Can't Freeze on Sway's Universe. I'm showing them every chance the more you kids are getting grown, the more I'm popping and the more I'm doing great things. So they mimic that same thing. They'll send me snapshots. Oh yeah, website just dropped. Or I just dropped a new record. Or I just made this new dish. Or I just made this farfalle pasta with the honey bacon and the right. Let's go. I love that.
Well, you need some penne in your life or something. You need some linguine. You've been on farfalle for I don't know how long.
I love it. But now my son Zai, he loved that now. That's his thing. So, you know what I mean? All I'm saying is
he's gonna definitely follow in your footsteps with that cooking.
100%, man. 100%. And I just, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we all have, even if we don't have kids, we all have somebody who's looking at us for guidance, even if it's not being said. They're looking for us to operate in a certain way to make them feel comfortable about chasing their dreams. You know what I mean?
I love it, man. You guys, thank you both for giving me some game, and for you know, you just forged two separate episodes of what we're going to cover on Things Fall Apart going forward. Um, very nice intermission. We've been on for about an hour, so we want to run through these last two really quick. Not as quick as we can, but let's try and be succinct.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a session after this, so it's cool. Keep going. Keep going.
Clans, posses, crews, and beefs. ASAP Rocky just finally admitted that he was hurt from ASAP Ferg dropping ASAP from his name. He was on with Jason Lee, and he talked about it. He dropped the name about a year ago when Rocky's trial first started, with the whole Relly thing. And I thought it was really interesting that he was the one out of the collective to name everyone ASAP, to give everyone the ASAP moniker. I don't think anybody knew that until he just said that. I think everybody thought it was Yams. Rest in peace, Yams. Right. But I think that's why he was butthurt, and not just because he said it the day his trial started. Come on.
Well, I mean, the old saying is from Wu-Tang, clan in the front. You know what I'm saying? Clan in the front. That's what we would assume. But you got to also understand, like, when you're dealing with court, you're dealing with accusations, you would want to protect your clan by making sure that they don't succumb to the same energies that you're going through. That's especially being, if you're the leader, if you're a focal point in the crew, it's almost like your obligation to not put that same type of energy on everybody else. You feel what I'm saying?
But that's exactly what he did, right?
Well, I mean, if ASAP is going through legal trouble, and Ferg take ASAP off of his name, okay, that's cool. That's cool.
But it also looks like we are not associated. It also looks like what he did. I don't.
That's the dance you got to go through when you're dealing with lawyers and you're dealing with court and you're dealing with possibly 10 to 15 years of jail time. You don't want your mans to have it too either. You don't want them to have it. I'm just saying that when it comes to things that are out of the context of, because they use that to say that you're a gang and they attack your other friends for that. If you're doing it to make sure that your crew is not affected, that's cool. But I also agree with, as soon as that court shit is over, put your name back, bro. Put your name back. Sure. Put it back.
I'm not real familiar with the situation, but from what I'm hearing, yeah, that sounds like a little violated. He violated a little bit with that. But I can understand protecting yourself. But out here when this crews and street codes, this, and the third, they kind of expect you to put crew before yourself. So you know what I mean? You ain't you protecting yourself. You kind of turn your back on the crew.
So follow up, Lex. He still like officially uses ASAP. He said in that interview, and he came out publicly, everybody clipped it, that I'm not ASAP anymore. He went as far as to say, like, yo, there is no more ASAP. If me, Ferg, and Rocky are not producing music, we're the face of this ASAP thing, then there is no ASAP. There is no ASAP. And that's pretty fucking weird because he still, and what was it? Jeremy Hecht, I think, made the point that he still is a signed artist. He still is contractually obligated as ASAP Ferg. So does that change anything? Like, does he still have to wait till after the trial, or should he still be?
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, man. Listen, if this was Microsoft and the president came into allegations of crime, guess what they gonna do? Hey, as the president of Microsoft, I respectfully step down to take care of my endeavors, yada, yada, yada. And then as soon as it's over and they clear, I'm back to doing what I'm doing. That's what I'm saying. Why we can't give our urban guys the same benefit of the doubt? We're trying to avoid jail. If it's ASAP Rocky, ASAP Ferg, and all the other ASAPs, guess what the police will do? They'll say, hey, let's go attack ASAP Ferg, try to get him to rat or do something against Rocky. They try that.
Well, I don't remember anyone denouncing Murder Inc. when Irv got off. Like,
that's the bad part. That's the bad part. They should have. They
But
should have got far away from Murder Inc. When, dude, you talking about the name is called Murder Inc. And y'all doing, supposedly they're trying to accuse you of money laundering and murder.
Everything is allegedly. Yeah, it's
Right.
all allegedly.
Allegedly, right. But I'm saying, get far away from that until it blow over. When it blow over, get back popping. Listen, I'm never gonna be mad at nobody close to me that if something, God forbid, I'm not saying knock on wood, knock on everything, knock on steel, knock on everything. If I get into some type of legal jam, yes, I would want people that's close to me that also got family and stuff like that. This is it's okay. It's okay. Because I gotta get rid of
right here. My bad correction. It was Dime a Dozen who made that point, not Jeremy Hecht. It was Dime a Dozen.
Okay.
Shout out.
But like usually when it's a crew like that, and then the first thing they trying to do is figure out who can they infiltrate and get inside on to do that. And when you say I'm not ASAP anymore, you just made yourself a target for them to come after you now. Because they looking at you like, oh, he's running from this shit. Why are you running now? You know what I mean? He trying to separate himself. So if we get him and make a deal with him, he gonna tell us it all to try to say he already trying to separate himself. So you kind of make yourself a target when you're dealing with them type of situations as well. And then your crew, when it's like that, your crew, they want y'all got to be like this now. You know what I mean? Everybody's looking over their shoulder like, who gonna be the one that break? You know what I mean? So as soon as you start trying to separate yourself and be gone, everybody gonna be looking at you like you the one that did it when it all hit the fan.
Right, but for me, I'm saying maybe that's the play. Maybe the play is to get far away from it because we don't want you to fall into it. I don't know. I'm not a court guy. I'm not a gangster.
Good point. Good point.
I'm just looking at it as I like to protect those around me.
And you're right, because in the same Jason Lee show, he said like he sees a world where they could get back together. He did exclude Relly. He excluded Relly, of course, but he said, yeah, I mean, as long as we can get back together and talk it out, he basically said that. Like, yeah,
I'm pretty sure behind the scenes they all ASAP and they all love each other. They just wait for another time to get back to doing music. I'm pretty sure they're on their own journey. I mean, Rocky doing mad commercials right now. You don't care about the music. The man doing commercials with all the top brands.
That's one thing.
He probably ain't gonna be in it. She probably told him, if you go do a record, then I'm gonna do one.
Exactly. Right.
So they ain't touching it.
You are absolutely right, both of y'all. And like he did, he was on trial for not shooting Relly. But I think he was really butthurt more about dude dropping the name more than him doing it as the trial started. Because ASAP Rocky, he's always been like, in my opinion and what I see from him and how I perceive him, as one of the most superficial dudes we have out here in this thing bars. He's all about high fashion and
class.
And since Yams left, rest in peace again, Yams, ASAP has been his to carry on his back. Exactly. It's been his to carry on his. It seems like you have to be in the know to know who Ferg is, but you know who Rocky is. Like every fucking body knows who Rocky is. He's married to one of the most famous chicks in the world. So he's very cutting edge materialistic, should I say? Right. And I think like again, everybody knows Rocky, but it seems like you have to know who Ferg is, and he was really put off by Ferg's actions, less than the timing of it.
Right.
It's like I feel like he kind of felt like he lost a brother or a son, and not to equate losing a family member or someone so close to you to a label mate leaving, your business venture. But again, him carrying that ASAP on his back and being the face of it, I think he kind of felt that way. So it's kind of like, why do you care? If you came up with the name and he don't want it no more, let him go. Like,
yeah. I mean, I agree with that. My only thing is just all of that stuff is over now. call your mans, have a conversation, get back popping. That's it, and drop some
Right.
new merch. That's all the ASAP fans really want is the fucking merch. Drop the merch.
Because when the last time they made a project together?
Years.
Yeah, so it's like when me dropping it. It's not like we were actively doing things. So, you know, if you drop the name while we're actively doing things, then that's something totally different. But we ain't been active in a while, so
Right.
You're right, and that is what Ferg said. That's why he said there's no more ASAP, because neither of them are putting out projects like that, especially not with the ASAP moniker. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'll say this last thing because I gotta go to a session. Lou, we appreciate you, we respect you, and this is not like just an interview. We want you to be a friend of the show. We want you to constantly come on when we have topics and things like that. Like this door is open for you. You know what I'm saying? Come in, come hang, come. Let's talk about this hip hop. Let's talk about this music, and let's have some fun, man. For real.
For sure. I appreciate y'all having me on here. I love the topics. You know what I mean? It was topics that I could really get into, and I definitely come on the show anytime. You know what I mean? Just let me know.
We would definitely appreciate it, Lou. We got a lot more to talk about Akron. You know, so
for sure.
Yeah. And we wanted to get more about Can't Freeze. Yeah, let's go ahead and end it out. Our quote today. If you know, we end the show with a quote. Whatever. Let me get my share on. Share screen. Okay, and I done closed it. What an idiot.
That's all right.
We usually give a quote from the book, Chino Achebe, Things Fall Apart, the name of the show. It was about community. It was about where you land and where you rest, and how kinsmen come together. Thank you, brothers, for being on. We will, I don't know, maybe try and do a standalone one of those. But that's what we got. People, I am Frank 5DD, and I only sworn solemnly high snobbity. Workload.
Big workload, man. Council Polly Rob. Find us at Local Astronauts at everything.
Our esteemed special guest,
LexLu35, LEXLU35. You can find me on Instagram and X up under there. Go get that Can't Freeze featuring Glocky, OTF Savvy, and Looney. CFN Looney Goon. They got so many different names now. These is like my little cousins and stuff. So I'm ready to call them they names that I go by, but I have to pull up the artist names. You know what I mean?
You don't want to use their real names, right?
Right, for sure. So I had to make sure I got the artist names in there.
That's what I'm talking about, y'all. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep watching. Peace.